Yeah, I'm Christian Frenette. I'm here on account of TeenChess.com. And
okay, what's that?
It's the website that I have, and I teach chess. Teen, T-E-E-N, chess, CHESS.com, all one word.
There we go. Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about chess's history, some things that are going on right now in chess.
I have tons of questions, like the history. How did this come about, and were world affairs settled with chess instead of wars, and how did the pieces come to be, and what do chess pieces look like in different countries? I mean, I got a million questions for you. Strategy, do you stare your opponent down? How do you bluff? I mean, like I say, so we may easily cover this hour with chess, but
yeah, I said in chess you have to poker face.
Oh my! Okay.
Can't let your opponent know you messed up. Yeah, so I was talking about chess history. So we don't really have much evidence for before the 1500s, but people think that it originated in about the 6th century AD. And most people think it started in India.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. A lot of cool things come from India. Today, there's a lot of new things that happen today in chess, like the National BLITZ League, or the NBL. It has 3 seasons so far, so that's pretty cool. I'm trying to get in there. I have to play enough chess games on BLITZ.com, and they play against other chess teams, so that's pretty neat. Yeah, the NBL.
NBL? The chess league. What's that stand for?
National BLITZ League. BLITZ is a 5-minute game mode, 5 to 10 minutes on the timer for chess. My chess teacher's kind enough to do a chess club on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 11 and 6 to 7. So, yeah, I love joining in there. But if you play online chess for too long, it's hard to go to a live tournament and play on a real chessboard with 3D pieces. So, kind of.
Oh, how come? What is it? It's all 2-dimensional, right?
Yeah, it changes your mind because you're used to looking at the screen and it being the top and the bottom. But when you're playing in person, it's all 3D. I mean, you're not gonna play 2D in real life. So yeah, it adds that little.
Oh, now, does it look different enough that your perception is different?
I mean, it's only like on the first game you're like, oh wow, I'm not used to this. So it's harder on that first game, but after that you basically get into the swing of it.
That works. Tell me about that.
So the 3 dimensions is just it not being on a screen. So you can actually touch the pieces and you have to move them, and they're not just like sticks. They're round pieces. But there is actually a variation of chess where there's 4 boards all put up against each other. It's really confusing. What I love about online chess is that there's game modes like Atomic or Horde or Crazy House, Bug House. There's a lot of variations that are a lot funner in the game online than in person. Because there's a few. Some of my favorite ones are Horde and Anti-Chess. Anti-Chess is, as the name suggests, like loser's chess. You have to try to give away all your pieces in order to win.
Oh.
But these game modes are solely for fun. There's not any rating attached to them or anything. Well, there's an online chess rating, but it's not connected to your real rating.
Okay.
Online, some of the tournaments are still. Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. No, that's okay. Yeah, we're so excited. We're gonna walk all over each other all this hour. I'll try and restrain my enthusiasm. Video games have become extremely popular. I never got into them much myself, just because I'm not sure why, but I know with kids or even young adults that love video games. Has chess gone into that world where the pieces take on a life of their own. So instead of like when a castle captures somebody, it either like collapses on them, or or when the king does something like beheads another piece. I mean, how detailed are video games getting with chess? Are they into that? With like a video game?
Well, I don't think chess is ever really going to be on competition of video games. I mean, there's no stabbing, there's no explosion, there's no bang. The side of my company is to help get teenagers off of video games so they don't grow up to be mindless zombies. It's like, even like some people in the chess class, I can see them like bouncing in their seat because they're not being stimulated enough. Video games are a very big stimulation, as my mom once taught me.
Yeah, but you could be a zombie because people play video games for days. Sometimes they're into the game.
Yeah, some people
not playing, so I want to get into that again. Everybody has a zone. Chess to me seems a zone. There are certain things that you can do to the exclusion of everything else, and you only have to concentrate on that one thing. And there are very few times you can do that. But chess seems one of those times. It doesn't. If you're in
everyone
that zone,
starts out being just reacting. I mean, it does take a while to start calculating 3 or 4 moves ahead, but I mean, anyone can learn chess. Chess is pretty hard when you first learn it, but after that, it starts to get easier once you've got the general concepts of things. I mean, not to try to make it sound confusing, but when you know how the pieces move, you can learn how to do tactics and openings. When you learn how to do tactics and openings, you can do checkmates, and you can do advanced tactics, and it's like a good snowball effect. But I mean, the snowball effect does take a while. You're not going to go to bed one night, play a game of chess, and come back and beat Bobby Fischer. I mean, it does take a lot of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I started playing at 5.
How do they rate you? How does that work?
So when you go to tournaments, everyone starts off with a rating of about 200, and if you win a game, your rating goes up. If you win a game against someone lower rated than you only gain a few points. But if I'm a 200 and I beat like a 600, my rating's gonna jump up to 275 or even 300. Having your rating higher generally means you're gonna face harder players. I mean, they're not gonna put you up with like a 200 on purpose. They're gonna try to make it all fair.
I want to talk about the pieces because no one's ever explained to me really how they came about and what they do, and where the names come from and things like that. So let's start at the beginning. The pawn. What is it? Because people use that. You're just a pawn in this game. They use the metaphors from chess. So what's a pawn, and what power does it have, and how does it fit into the game?
Well, a pawn is generally someone who you put forward, you use to try to open up your opponent or attack your opponent. I mean, we did a section on what chess is to life, and it was like the pawn is your typical 9-to-5 worker. They just go straight. They don't really make any turns unless they see something special. They'll make a turn and then they just go forward again. That's the pawn.
But a pawn can threaten a king.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, he can, but most of the time it just gets captured.
So pawns are to be sacrificed, sort of like
most
workers
pawns
in a factory. It's just you do your work, and if something happens, that's it.
Yeah, basically.
I never thought about this before.
Yeah, it's like
go ahead, you're on a roll.
If there's another pawn in front of you, both of you can't move. It's just you're stuck.
If the pawns, this actually makes a lot of sense. Think about this. If the pawns represent the masses, they have no identity. They all look the same. There's nothing that distinguishes one pawn from another pawn. They're the general population. They're the 9-to-5 worker. They're the, whether they're male or female, you don't know. They're not dressed well or dressed badly. They're not anything. They have no identity. It is a metaphor for the population. So we have to distinguish certain people above the pawn.
Yeah,
and fascinating. What's that class called again that you took? This is a great class.
What did you say again?
Well, the class you took, they talked about chess pieces as real life, as metaphors for real life.
Yeah, it was my chess class at school. Because the knight can jump over pieces. A closed position? Is that what you said? What's closed position?
Yeah.
A closed position is when there's like a lot of pawns on the board and they're all blocking a lot of squares. So there's not many squares that the pieces can move. Except for the knight, because the knight can jump over pieces.
Is it advisable to use your knight to jump over pawns before you move your pawns at all? To sort of guard the pawns, or no?
I mean, not necessarily to guard the pawns, but more to guard your center pawn and to protect the center. So, when you move your knight over the G pawn or the B pawn, both of them have knights on them, then it's really just handy for jumping over pieces and getting a quick attack in, like the fried liver, or just the fried liver. It's a opening trap, basically, where you end up forking the queen and the rook. So the queen has to move out of the way, and then you take the rook.
Okay, so fork is when you have two pieces that are in jeopardy, and you're going to lose one of them. It's only a question of which one, and there's nothing you can do about it? Is that how it works?
Well, not necessarily nothing you can do about it, but because a knight moves in an L and can jump over pieces, which makes it really good for forking.
Okay.
A fork is when one piece attacks two pieces. So my knight is attacking a bishop and a rook, per se. Then the rook would move out of the way, and then you can take the bishop. But if the rook stays in the same protecting distance, you probably don't want to make that trade. Just try to go for another fork.
So now, did knights come from the knights? I mean, the actual knights of old. You know, battle, broadsword, mace, jousting, lances, all that kind of stuff. Is that the origin of the knight?
Well, the knight is really just the horse. It's the horse with no horseback. Just the horse.
Oh, it's just the horse.
Yeah, there's no dude on it. It's just, it goes around.
So
and the knight is supposed to represent an indecisive person, because they go 2 squares forward and then 1 square left or right, because they go in an L. So it's supposed to represent someone who doesn't know what they want to do in life, and they're indecisive about how they're going to do things.
But I've never heard this before. This is fascinating. So how did that interpretation come out? I'm just curious.
Because of the knight's movement pattern. Most of these come out of the movement pattern.
Okay.
Because the knight goes 2 squares forward and 1 square to the side, or 2 squares sideways and 1 square forward. It's like a family fork when you fork 3 pieces at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, those kind of forks are usually done late game. Like when you've got a queen and a king, and then like a rook is blocking a lane or something, you just go plop, and you're forking 3 pieces. The best forks are with the king, because the king has to get out of danger, like legally has to, and then you just like take the queen. It's the most infamous one.
This has been a fascinating hour. Like I said, we've covered a bunch of different areas. Josie, you're welcome to say it through Financial Report and the rest of the show. But Christian, nice job. Very impressive.
Thank you. Make sure you check out teenchess.com.
There we go. Final plug in there. All right.
Yeah.